Better strap yourself in. It's time for the Howie Carr Show.
I am proud of Hillary Clinton. I think she's been a very good Secretary of State, a very good senator from the state of New York. The thing I like most about her is I believe that she is steady. I believe that she is strong. I believe that she is honest. And I look forward to voting for her.
Live from an undisclosed location.
Let's not let political correctness stop the police and the FBI from doing the investigations that they have to do. I've used the example many times. When you're going after the mafia, you go to the Italian communities, Irish communities when you're looking for the Westies. And right now, if the threat is from Islamist terrorism, we go to Muslim communities. You don't look for the Ku Klux Klan in Harlem.
Unchained and unstoppable.
Donald Trump has repeatedly invited his followers to commit a terrible act of violence on his opponent. He has invited them to kill another human being more than once.
Who's your captain? Howie Carr.
She calls the patriotic Americans who support our campaign, many of them cops and soldiers, deplorable and irredeemable, and she means it. Millions and millions of people. Has she ever talked that way about radical Islam? No. Or about those who oppose and murder women and gays overseas? Has Hillary Clinton ever called people who support these practices deplorable and irredeemable? No.
Rump swabs, hacks, and moonbats beware. It's Howie Carr.
One 844-500-4242. New developments here on the Elizabeth, New Jersey bomber. The note reportedly left by the suspected New York and New Jersey bomber referenced the Boston Marathon attacks. I mean, this is another similarity between the Tsarnaevs and Ahmed Rahami, or whatever his name is. The Joker left his manifesto in the boat. He wrote it in his own blood, I think. And this guy had a diary or a notebook, and he referenced the strike. Ahmed Khan Romani, this is the governor today, governor of Massachusetts, Charlie Baker, left a message noting that the 2013 attacks were carried out using homemade pressure cooker bombs, similar to those Rahami used in injuring dozens of people in New York City. Baker, in an interview on the radio this morning, said Massachusetts law enforcement officials have spoken, quote, a lot with authorities in New York and New Jersey, as well as federal officials at the Boston-based Intelligence Fusion Center. As far as I can tell at this point, his reference to the marathon was the nature of the device and the act itself, not that there was something else being planned up here, Baker said. The governor added that he is as interested as anything else to see what is stored in Rahami's cell phone and computer. I'm quite sure people are tearing those apart right now. So again, this is he's following in the Tsarnaev's footsteps, right up to the fact that he's going to have all this the best legal defense money can buy. Some lawyer is retiring now. You can count on that.
The difference, though, we haven't had stories come out to undermine his Islamicness. Like, oh, he used drugs and went to strip clubs.
Well, I don't know.
Don't they always use that as a way to say that he's not necessarily a Muslim because of all the un-Islamic things that he did?
I'm waiting for someone to call him an all-American boy. You remember that? I think it was Robin Young, a woman I used to work with at Channel 7. You called him an all-American boy. She lived in Cambridge, and she had a high school graduation party for his class at Renge and Latin. That's the high school in Cambridge. So it's good. And Beaver State Finian mentioned, too, he's probably not going to make the cover of the Rolling Stone. Number one, doesn't have tousled hair. Number two, he's not quite as buff as the Joker was. I don't think he's going to attract the attention, shall we say, of Jan Weiner and the folks at Rolling Stone. Joining us now on the line is Joe Concha. He works for The Hill, and he's been a guest on the show several times. He's a media reporter, and he does a great job. And Joe, we all noticed this yesterday, but I'm glad that somebody put it out on the web. That CNN has been editing the news yet again here. Tell us what CNN has done now, the latest.
Oh, okay. So whenever you quote somebody, in this case we'll say Donald Trump, you have to be taking those words verbatim. It's a rule of journalism.
Especially when you put quotes.
The word is never said.
Especially if you put quotes around it, Joe. I mean, this is like what you're about to say is even beyond this. This isn't like, somebody wrote down something and they didn't quite get the quotation right. We've all done that, when we're scribbling in our little steno pads. But when you put quotes around a phrase, you're supposed to pay particular attention, are you not?
Of course, yeah, because you have to be taking that from a transcript or
right.
something that you heard. In this case, CNN had a big banner. It's called a lower third or a chyron. Those big words, headlines that you see on your TV screens. It says, Trump says, quote, racial profiling, those are in quotes, will stop terror. But if you look at the transcripts of 2 interviews that he did yesterday on Fox News, he never says the word racial. So you can't quote somebody with a word they did not say, but CNN did that not only on television, but on their CNN.com website as well. And that is journalistic malfeasance. Yeah. And no apology, no comment, no nothing. They're going with it. And I think what's happening now, Howie, is CNN is in a distant third place right now. They're well behind MSNBC, which is a hard thing to do, and obviously Fox is leading that pack. And the reason is they've actually gone to the left of MSNBC, if that's possible, but give MSNBC credit because at least they say who they are. CNN still pretends like they're some sort of centrist, objective network, and they've thrown it out the window the last couple of weeks. I've never seen so many blatant examples of bias than I've seen from this network over the last couple of weeks, particularly as it pertains to Donald Trump.
Well, let's talk about the earlier one. I mean, the bombing story. I mean, that was insane what they did. Tell people about that.
Sure. So on Saturday night, obviously, those bombs went off. I live in New Jersey. The bombs went off in New York in the Chelsea neighborhood district, 23rd and 6th in that city. And then another bomb was found on 27th Street, about 4 blocks up. And once the reports started coming in that there was an explosion, on the street from a metal container where there were no gas lines, it was pretty easy to deduce that this was a bomb and not just some sort of accident that happened. So Donald Trump got off his plane after being briefed on it, saw some reports, and says that a bomb's gone off in New York. We got to start being tough about and vigilant about these things. Okay. So immediately he began to get criticized for jumping too soon and not getting all the information. He's being reckless and irresponsible. Here's the problem. Hillary Clinton on her plane gets briefed, and this is maybe an hour and a half later, and she says, I've just been made aware of the bombings in New York and New Jersey. Okay, she said it. That's fine. The problem is when CNN carried her comments just moments after they were made, for whatever reason, and that was the first sentence she said, by the way, I've been made aware of the bombings in New York and New Jersey. They cut the bombings part out and then had the audacity afterwards to criticize Trump for using the word bomb.
Yeah, they went to, they had a reporter went up to her and said, what do you think about Donald Trump describing the explosions in New York as a bomb?
Yeah, as a bomb, right. And then that gave Hillary an opening to say, well, I think that we need to hold judgment and we need to do – and when she just did it, and then the people that were on CNN at the time went on to criticize Trump as well. So here's the thing, Howie, though. They're not going to get away with it. No network is going to be able to get away with these sort of blatant edits anymore because not just because of people like me, media reporters, right? Twitter, I'm telling you. Somebody notices, they tweet it out, then it becomes a story, then other people pick it up. The last 2 stories I've written about CNN have easily been the most popular on the Hill. And I'd like to take credit for spotting both of these, but I was just following a Twitter feed and somebody said, hey, you see what CNN did here? And then I went with it from there.
Yeah, I'm older than you, Joe, and I remember when I got out of college, I was just staying with a friend of mine in Palo Alto. This was during Watergate, and the only way I could get the stories from the New York Times and the Washington Post, because they were breaking all the stories, you know what I had to do? About 11 o'clock, they'd deliver the the afternoon editions of this. I feel like I'm from talking about the Spanish-American War. They would deliver the afternoon editions of the San Francisco Examiner, and they would have all the stories from Woodward and Bernstein, and that's the way I found out about things. You know, there was no CNN,
Wow.
there was no internet, there weren't even any all news radio stations, but the CNN is acting like it's still 1974. You know, that no one can
where you don't have the ability to fact check.
Right, that nobody can figure out what's going on, and they're crazy. This is why you're right. This is why they're in third place.
Yeah, it's something that's really hurting their credibility, and people can see right through it. And when you turn on that network, if they're not doing these sort of things, it's just panel after panel of they'll put Corey Lewandowski or somebody, some sacrificial lamb on against like 5 other people that are anti-Trump.
Right.
And it's boring because it's an echo chamber, right? That doesn't make for good television. Good television, good radio is when you have good debate and different perspectives that are offered, and not just one that pounds on one candidate. You're alienating in the process half the country. Right now, you look at the polls, the Real Clear Politics average is split evenly. It's a dead heat race. And so why say we're going to piss off half of our audience so we can appease another side of it because we want to show what good Democrats we are?
Right.
It's just dumb broadcasting, Howie.
Yeah, as long as I got you on the line, Joe, I know this is an important day in many of our lives, and just wanted to ask you personally how you're handling the devastating news of the Brad and Angelina breakup.
I got to tell you, I'm celebrating, quite frankly. I think that she is the most stunning person on this planet. She is a movie star. There are no more old movie stars, you know, like the Ava Gardners of the world. You look at her and you're just taken aback. So I just, revealed my crush, even though I'm a married man with 2 kids. What can I say? I mean, everybody in Hollywood breaks up. I mean, how many marriages actually get to the finish line?
But I thought this was one for the ages, Joe.
Do it anymore.
Wasn't this one for the ages?
You would think, right?
Yeah. And who's going to get?
Yeah,
and who's going? And then there are these rumors of drug abuse. Again, imagine in Hollywood, among A-listers.
Yeah, all those kids. Well, they have like 14 kids from 14 different countries. I mean that's going to be one hell of a divorce settlement, no question.
It's the United Nations. Yeah, I know. So
I don't know. I'm never surprised by these things, are you? I mean, in Hollywood, it's just the lifestyles that you're constantly on the road, and you're 2 gorgeous people, and you're not going to be tempted by XYZ with all this money in the world. I mean, it's just the formula is there for a divorce. There's no other way around it.
Well, Joe, get back to work on this. We want the inside skinny on the breakup before the National Enquirer.
Word with Angelina.
Thank you, Joe Concha, for being with us, and we've got a link on our website to the story. And as he said, it's getting more. These last two stories are getting more hits than anything else on that on the Hill website, and I don't blame him. I mean, that's just it's so irritating that this is going on, and that they think that we're stupid enough that we're not going to notice it. Thanks, Joe, for being with us. Joe Concha from the Hill.
All right, Howie.
This hour of the Howie Carr Show is brought to you in part by The Local, with locations in Wellesley, Wayland, and West Newton, and opening soon in Woburn. Try The Local near you. I'm Howie Carr.
He didn't come here to be made sport of. Howie Carr.